warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bersyukur kehadiran Yang Maha Esa bahwa kita pagi ini punya kesempatan yang sangat luar biasa, di mana Pak Sekretaris Lembaga LL Dikti kita langsung kita peluk untuk membuka, jadi suatu kehormatan dan juga kebahagiaan dan juga karena ini kan proses pembangunan ini sangat cepat Pak, berkaitan dengan adanya workshop, jadi bahwa ini bisa dibuka segera sebelum acara seminar ini ada suatu achievement juga dan ini sangat spesial. Lab ini nanti silakan karena berkaitan khusus untuk di planning. Untuk nanti kita bisa juga melakukan data analisis untuk berbagai metode yang bisa melayani keperluan pemerintah dan untuk ke arah yang industri 4.0. Jadi pada kesempatan ini dengan kerendahan hati, penghargaan dan sebagainya dan segala macam lainnya, kami mohon kesediaan Bapak untuk memotong itu. Yeah. Dan kemudian nanti di dalam akan ada aplikasi yang untuk penggunaan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ini namanya apa? Lab International Program. Lab Deep Learning. Kita resmikan ya. Ini adalah peresmian, saya meresmikan lab pertama ini. Jadi ini masuk sejarah ini. Saya meresmikan lab pertama di Gunadarma
dan juga
lab Deep Learning ya. Mudah-mudahan ini betul-betul menjadi lab yang cukup bisa menyajikan karya-karya mendalam juga ya terkait dengan proses pembelajaran, terutama dalam rangka menyambut era revolusi industri 4.0 ini. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mudah-mudahan Gunadarma selalu sukses.
Amin.
Selamat pagi kepada yang terhormat Ketua Lembaga Layanan Pendidikan Tinggi Wilayah 3 DKI Jakarta yang dalam hal ini diwakilkan oleh Sekretaris Lembaga Layanan Pendidikan Tinggi Wilayah 3 DKI Jakarta, Bapak Dr. M. Samsuri. Yang kami hormati Rektor Universitas Gunadarma, Ibu Profesor Dr. E.S. Margianti, SEMM. Wakil Rektor 3 Universitas Gunadarma, Bapak Dr. Irwan Bastian, Eskom, MMSI. Wakil Rektor 4 Universitas Gunadarma, Bapak Profesor Dr. Didi Mukodin, MM. Ketua Aptikom, Bapak Profesor Zainal Al-Hasibuan, PhD. Para narasumber serta Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Pertama-tama kami mengucapkan selamat datang dan terima kasih atas kehadiran hadirin sekalian di auditorium salah satu kampus Universitas Gunadarma, yaitu kampus Karawaci. Dan marilah bersama-sama kita panjatkan puji syukur kehadiran Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, karena hanya dengan rahmat dan karunia-Nya lah pada hari ini kita berada di sini guna mengikuti acara internasional seminar dalam kegiatan Summer School 2018 bertemakan Machine Learning and Deep Learning for Medical and Biomedical Application yang terselenggara berkat kerjasama Universitas Gunadarma dengan University Teknologi Petronas Malaysia. Good morning and welcome to Universitas Gunadarma, to all speaker. Thank you for coming in Gunadarma University. Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian, langsung saja kita memasuki acara yang pertama, yaitu laporan dari Ketua Pelaksana. Untuk itu kami persilakan kepada Bapak Dr. Eri Prasetyo Wibowo untuk memberikan laporan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable the Head of L2 Dikti, represented by Dr. Mr. Muhammad Samsuri, and the Rector of University of Gunadarma, Ibu Profesor S. Margianti, the Chairman of Apticom and the attendant Profesor Zainal Hasibuan, Profesor Benny Mutiara, Profesor Jatis, and Ibu Ismi, and the speaker or instructor of summer school. And welcome Pak Abbas, Direktur Ketua Aptisi Banten, and leader and lecturer of Gunadarma University, and the participant of the summer school. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and greeting to all. This summer school is initiated by University of Technology Petronas (UTP) and Gunadarma University, which is follow up of the is coordinated by Professor Fabrice Mereju. Please standing, Mr. Fabrice. His follow up of the MOU between these two institutions. This event also involves Apticom and University of Gajah Mada, Yogyakarta, especially in assisting in the speaker and the promotion. And the number of participants of this event is amounted to 30 people, and participants come from Medan, Bandung, Jakarta, Surabaya, Yogyakarta, Semarang, Palembang, and Jombang. This summer school will be held to 4 days, from 30 July to 3 August at 8:30 AM to 7:30 PM. And summer school in the field of the learning and master learning on medical and biomedical imaging is the first event that is held in the University of Gunadarma. And as the head of committee, first we certainly would like to thank to Professor Fabrice from UTP, Profesor Zainal Hasibuan from Apticom, Rector of Gunadarma University, Profesor S. Margianti, and the speaker, Dr. Tong Bontong. Please standing. Dr. Gulam Lamait, please standing. And Dr. Nur Sakira, maybe today she arrived, and Dr. Ibrahim Paye from UTP. Ibrahim Paye nationality from African. And Dr. Mojeh Rasku, she is have problem with the visa because she is Iranian, so maybe it's not enough time to apply a visa. And also Dr. Idi Adrianto and Dr. Nur Ahmad Setiawan from UGM. Yeah, next day they come. And Dr. Imade Wiryana, he is very busy. Second, we are very thankful to committees who have worked hardly so this event can be held. And last but not the least, jaga gading yang tak retak. Jadi kami mohon maaf kalau ada kekurangan di sana sini. Welcome to summer school. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Silakan kepada Ibu Rektor Universitas Gunadarma, Ibu Profesor Dr. S. Margianti, SEMM, untuk memberikan sambutan.
Saya hormati Bapak Sekretaris Lembaga L2 LL Dikti LL Dikti Wilayah 3 yang baru saja dilantik beberapa hari yang lalu, Bapak Dr. M. Samsuri. Yang saya hormati Bapak Ketua Umum Aptikom beserta segenap jajarannya, Bapak Profesor Dr. Jenal Ucok ya, Pak. Yang saya hormati Bapak Ketua Aptisi Wilayah Tangerang dan sekitarnya beserta segenap jajarannya, our old friend Professor Fabrice Meredu with all the team from Petronas, also team from other institution, bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu warek beserta bapak dekan dan bapak-bapak, ibu para dosen Gunadarma, and then the most important all participant for the summer course. Selamat pagi, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Pertama-tama tentunya puji syukur kehadiran Yang Maha Esa bahwa kita dapat berkumpul di tempat ini, dan terus terang kali ini adalah kali pertama saya naik ke lantai 12 ini, dan juga tadi ke lantai 1 baru tadi pagi setelah diadakan sedikit perubahan. Jadi kalau mungkin bulan yang lalu ruangannya belum seperti ini, sound systemnya juga belum begitu seperti ini. Jadi alhamdulillah sekali bahwa pagi ini kita dapat kalau bahasa Perancisnya itu nganyari ruangan, dan itu tentu saja atas izin dari Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Dan juga tadi pagi Bapak saya sebagai L2 LL Dikti telah berkenan dan sempat meresmikan lab, satu lab walaupun tidak terlalu besar, lab deep learning. Bapak-bapak, ibu dan para hadirin sekalian, deep learning ini kelihatannya memang sudah menjadi salah satu topik training yang sangat mendukung dalam era yang dikatakan era revolusi 4.0, di mana sekarang kita sudah main data analisis dengan big data dan lain sebagainya. Maka berbagai aplikasi, berbagai kegiatan yang berkaitan dengan berbagai aspek kehidupan kita dapat kita lakukan melalui berbagai pendekatan baru. Salah satunya adalah, kalau tidak salah, kata preface dalam buku pedoman buku program ini, pengembangan ini adalah khusus untuk yang medical application. Tentu saja deep learning ini terbuka untuk beberapa hal, dan seperti yang sudah dilakukan selama ini pada penelitian-penelitian yang lalu, kita sudah juga menyentuh beberapa aspek dari kehidupan kita pada era saat ini. Baik, saya tidak akan berpanjang kata pada kesempatan ini. Kepada Aptikom saya ucapkan terima kasih atas keterlibatan yang ever and forever ya. Kemudian juga kepada bapak-bapak, ibu para partisipan, saya ucapkan selamat mengikuti kegiatan ini. Saya berharap bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu dapat mengambil manfaat dan dapat sekaligus juga mengembangkan berbagai hal yang berkaitan dengan hal ini. Dan juga bagi bapak-bapak dan ibu dari Gunadarma, silahkan mengambil kesempatan, karena saya dengar seatnya sangat terbatas sehingga 30 itu tidak mencukupi untuk kita semua terlibat secara aktif. Dan terakhir tentu saja kepada para pembicara, para peserta yang telah membuat kegiatan ini jadi mungkin terlaksana, kami mengucapkan penghargaan dan terima kasih yang sebesar-besar. Mohon izin bapak-bapak dan ibu sekalian untuk sekedar mengucapkan selamat datang kepada rekan old friend, very old friend from of Gunadarma, of course, Professor Dr. Fabrice Meredu, and also Dr. Tom, and all the speaker of this seminar, this workshop. We are very happy to have you here. Welcome, and welcome back to Indonesia again. And I heard that your plan in a very short time was many, so I hope that in the very short time we can meet again in Gunadarma. As you know, this is our new location in Karawaci, but actually we have several locations that I think it is necessary also need your visit to have another international seminar in other location of Gunadarma campus. So, Professor Fabrice Meredu, we are looking forward to see you in your next trip to Indonesia. Jadi Profesor Fabrice Meredu ini kawan lama yang sudah dari tahun mungkin 90-an atau early 2000. Jadi sudah banyak sekali kegiatan yang dilakukan dan ini berkaitan dengan yang ke arah medical application, tapi sebetulnya juga ada beberapa kegiatan lain yang berkaitan dengan robotik dan lain sebagainya. Jadi bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu, nanti apabila dalam kegiatan yang ada ini ada kemungkinan bagi kita untuk bersinergi ke arah lebih baik, lebih luas, maka Gunadarma pada kesempatan ini on behalf of Bapak Eri Prasetyo, itu bos saya mengundang bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu untuk kita melakukan kerjasama karena pada saat ini tidak mungkin sesuatu kita lakukan secara sendiri-sendiri. Collaboration adalah key of our future. Kepada Bapak Ses Bada yang pada pagi ini telah berkenan membuka meresmikan lab yang baru walaupun dengan persiapan seadanya, dan pada kesempatan ini juga nanti mewakili Ibu Kepala Lembaga akan membuka acara ini. Saya mohon nanti kesediaan untuk memberikan sambutan dan sekaligus membuka kegiatan ini, dan sekaligus saya ucapkan terima kasih atas perjalanan yang jauh dari Bekasi ke Cawang, baru ke Karawaci, nanti balik lagi kemana saya kurang tahu, tapi beliau akan setelah pembukaan ini ada beberapa hal yang harus dilakukan oleh. Jadi demikianlah Bapak-Bapak Ibu dan para hadirin sekalian, sambutan selamat datang, harapan, doa, dan juga apabila nanti ada hal-hal yang kurang berkenan, kurang sempurna dan lain sebagainya, mohon dimaafkan. Kadang-kadang listriknya masih suka mati, kadang-kadang kita doakan selama perjalanan kegiatan ini tetap tidak ada gangguan terhadap listrik. Demikianlah sambutan saya, sekali lagi selamat datang, terima kasih atas semua keterlibatan yang ada, dan semoga apa yang kita lakukan pada hari ini menjadi bekal dan dasar bagi kebaikan kita di masa yang akan datang. Sekian, terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selanjutnya adalah sambutan sekaligus pembukaan acara oleh Ketua Lembaga Layanan Pendidikan Tinggi yang dalam hal ini diwakilkan kepada Sekretaris Lembaga Layanan Pendidikan Tinggi, Bapak Dr. M. Samsuri, dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati Ibu Rektor Universitas Gunadarma, Profesor Dr. Margianti. Yang saya hormati Ketua Aptikom, Profesor Zainal Hasibuan. Yang saya hormati Wakil Rektor 3 Universitas Gunadarma, Dr. Wawan Bastian. Yang saya hormati Wakil Rektor 4 Gunadarma, Profesor Dr. Didin Mukadim. Yang saya hormati Ketua Panitia, Bapak Dr. Eri Prasetyo Wibowo. Mohon maaf kalau salah-salah karena saya baru mengenal hari ini. Kemudian yang saya hormati Ketua Aptisi Wilayah Tangerang Selatan, wilayah Banten, Bapak Abbas Sunaria. The Honorable all speaker and instructor, especially Professor Dr. Fabrice from University of Technology Petronas, Bapak Ibu, saudara-saudara, rekan-rekan sejawat, peserta seminar Summer School, peserta program Summer School 2018 yang hari ini mengambil tema secara khusus adalah terkait dengan machine learning and deep learning for medical and biomedical application. Saya kira program ini cukup baik ya, yang diinisiasi oleh Universitas Gunadarma bekerja sama dengan Aptikom, juga bekerja sama dengan Universitas Teknologi Petronas ya. To all speaker,
I do apologize. Yeah, I'm speaking bahasa. Yeah, because all of participants here from Indonesia, so better for us to speaking with bahasa. Yeah, I do apologize. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, next slide. Jadi sebagaimana kita ketahui tadi sudah disampaikan oleh Ibu, Kopertis ya, next. Kopertis saat ini telah bertransformasi ya. Yang tadinya Kopertis persis setelah terbitnya Permenristek Dikti nomor 15 tahun 2018 itu bertransformasi menjadi lembaga layanan pendidikan tinggi. Jadi kalau dulu adalah koordinator perguruan tinggi swasta, sekarang bertransformasi menjadi lembaga layanan. Yang ingin saya tekankan adalah layanan pendidikan tinggi. Jadi kami ini di Kopertis itu adalah pelayan dari Bapak Ibu semua, ya. Mulai dari aspek akademik, ya. Di dalamnya ada proses pembelajaran, research and innovation, kemudian juga aspek penguatan sumber dayanya, ya. Bagaimana mendorong dosen-dosen itu meningkat secara kualifikasi dan karirnya. Jadi kalau ada dosen mengajukan usulan jabatan fungsional itu dipersulit di L2 Dikti, mohon kami disampaikan ya. Karena pada prinsipnya lembaga layanan itu harus memberikan layanan yang prima ya. Tentu juga dengan standar kualitas yang baik. Pelayanan dalam hal apa? Ya, transformasinya adalah pelayanan dalam hal peningkatan mutu perguruan tinggi ya. Baik itu perguruan tinggi negeri maupun perguruan tinggi swasta. Kebetulan kami mendapat amanah untuk LLDP wilayah 3 Jakarta ya, yang di dalamnya itu termasuk Universitas Gunadarma dan universitas-universitas lain yang ada di Jakarta ya. Meskipun beberapa universitas yang baik itu melakukan pengembangan kampus di luar Jakarta. Jadi key point-nya adalah kami diberi mandat oleh Bapak Menteri untuk memberikan layanan terbaik ya, dari aspek akademik, sumber daya, kelembagaan ya. Itu semuanya kita harus memberikan layanan yang terbaik. Next. Kemudian Bapak Ibu, kita semuanya sudah tahu ya, ini sudah didengung-dengungkan ya, dan saya berharap ini bukan hanya didengungkan saja, bahwa saat ini kita itu sudah memasuki revolusi industri 4.0 ya. Perubahan dari revolusi industri 3.0 ke revolusi industri 4.0 ini sangat cepat ya. Revolusi industri 3.0 itu baru dimulai sekitar akhir tahun 1969 atau awal tahun 1970 ya, yang ditandai dengan ditemukannya PLC ya, atau yang kita kenal dengan komputer. Saat ini 2018 sudah bergeser ya, eranya masuk pada revolusi industri keempat ya, di mana semuanya itu berbasisnya antara manusia, permesinan dan sebagainya itu terkoneksi dengan sangat cepat dan sangat luas ya. Semuanya berbasis digital ya. Kemudian di dalam era revolusi industri keempat ini ada 3 aspek ya, 3 aspek literasi yang harus kita miliki Bapak Ibu ya. Yang pertama adalah literasi data ya, big data. Jadi yang harus dimiliki saat ini adalah bagaimana kemampuan kita ya membaca big data ya. Kalau dulu itu pinter matematika, kemudian bisa membaca menulis ya dengan cepat, itu sudah hebat. Sekarang bukan itu lagi yang menentukan. tetapi bagaimana kemampuan kita membaca dan menganalisis data, ya, dalam bentuk big data. Artinya apa? Apapun jurusan kita, ya, di era sekarang kalau mau bersaing itu harus menguasai yang namanya coding, ya. Apapun jurusan kita, ya. Seorang ekonom harus mampu menguasai coding, ya, supaya bisa membaca big data, ya. Kemudian literasi yang kedua yang harus kita miliki adalah apa? Terhadap kemampuan mengoperasionalkan teknologi. Saya kira summer school hari ini penekanannya kepada literasi yang kedua ini, saya kira, ya. Bagaimana kemampuan untuk mengoperasionalkan teknologi, ya. Literasi terhadap teknologi, ya, khususnya untuk medical dan biomedical hari ini, ya. Karena teknologi berkembang demikian cepat, maka kemampuan kita untuk beradaptasi, ya, untuk mampu menguasai terhadap operasional teknologi itu menjadi satu tuntutan dalam literasi teknologi kita, ya. Kemudian yang ketiga adalah literasi manusia atau human literation, ya. Artinya apa di sini? Skill yang paling banyak menentukan. Baik itu skill dalam aspek teknis maupun skill berkomunikasi, skill membangun jaringan, ya. Kalau kita di era sekarang tidak pandai membangun jaringan secara digital, ya, maka kita akan tergilas, kita akan tertinggal, ya. Tapi kemampuan ini harus kita kuasai. Jadi literasi terhadap literasi data, khususnya kemampuan membaca dan menganalisa big data, kemudian literasi teknologi, ya, kemampuan untuk mengoperasionalkan berbagai jenis teknologi, baik itu yang sifatnya hard teknologi ataupun yang soft teknologi. Kemudian yang ketiga adalah literasi, kita harus memiliki kemampuan literasi manusia, terutama dari aspek bagaimana kemampuan kita membangun networking, bagaimana kemampuan kita untuk berinteraksi satu dengan yang lainnya, ya. Next. Kemudian Bapak Ibu, kami juga ingin mengingatkan jangan sampai kita itu terlena masuk dalam zona nyaman, ya. Seperti kalau kita lihat komedi putar, ya, kita berangkat dari titik itu kemudian berputar-putar, nanti turun juga di titik itu. Jadi kita ada di zona nyaman itu saja. Jangan sampai kita sebagai sivitas akademika itu ada di posisi itu, ya. Sudah nyaman menjadi dosen, sudah nyaman menjadi tending, ya, sudah nyaman lulus sebagai mahasiswa. Tanpa kita melakukan improvisasi, tanpa kita melakukan inovasi, maka kita akan tertinggal. Selanjutnya. Kemudian yang terakhir Bapak Ibu, saya ingin menyampaikan satu hal, ya. Melalui summer school ini kita gunakan, ini hanya satu semacam inisiasi. Ilmu yang sesungguhnya itu bukan di saat training ini, tetapi pengetahuan yang sesungguhnya itu kita peroleh setiap saat, ya. Maka kami ingin menyampaikan satu konsep belajar sepanjang hayat, ya. Artinya apa? Kita itu belajar tidak boleh putus, ya. Hari ini kita melakukan summer school, esok hari kita harus menularkan kepada yang lain. Karena yang namanya proses belajar itu sebetulnya bukan hanya kita mengadopsi, tapi bagaimana kita menularkan apa yang kita miliki, itu juga merupakan satu proses pembelajaran, ya. Jadi belajar sepanjang hayat, ya, itu harus kita lakukan. Kalau dalam dunia Islam itu sudah disebut namanya belajarlah, mulai dari tuntutlah ilmu, mulai dari ayunan sampai liang lahat, ya. Karena apa? Kalau saat ini, ya, kalau kita hanya belajar sampai lulus S1, lulus S2, lulus S3, kemudian kita berhenti, kita tidak mengimprovisasi pengetahuan kita, maka kita akan tertinggal, ya. Kata orang bijak, ya, orang yang berhenti belajar itu akan menjadi pemilih masa lalu. Ya. Pinter, hebat, tapi masa lalu karena sudah berhenti belajar. Tapi orang yang terus-menerus belajar, ya, terus mengikuti program-program pembelajaran, melakukan peningkatan kualitas pembelajaran secara mandiri, maka dia akan menjadi pemilih masa depan. Ya. Saya kira itu yang dapat saya sampaikan. Dan terakhir, saya dengan mengucap Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, maka program Summer School 2018 Machine Learning and Deep Learning for Medical and Biomedical Application secara resmi kami buka. Sekian, mohon maaf kalau ada hal-hal yang kurang berkenan, dan saya ucapkan sukses selalu untuk Bapak Ibu yang hadir di sini. Ya, ingat, jangan berhenti melalui proses Summer School ini, terus kembangkan secara mandiri setelah Bapak Ibu kembali ke tempat masing-masing. Dan sekali lagi apresiasi untuk Gunadarma, mudah-mudahan juga terus melakukan quick improvement dan continuous improvement dengan program-program lain yang juga lebih menggigit. Sekian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kami persilakan Bapak Profesor Zainal Al-Hasibun PhD, Ketua Aptikom, sebagai keynote speaker kita pada pagi hari ini. Kami persilakan.
10 o'clock. So this is the titles that I would like to share to all of the audience. Uncover natural structures using deep learning, a way forward of understanding the nature. First, let's see the evolution from learning to, say, I come forward to my own definitions, what we call seamless learning. There will be a situation one day, ya, jadi suatu ketika nanti kita akan belajar itu seamless. Ya, tadi early in the morning we went to the lab, we saw all the screen around the room. Next time, the screens is everywhere. Whatever you touch, it's become a screen. Okay, so the basic is deep learning. The 4 things that underlying the deep learning, first of all, is a big volume of data. Usually we hear it, we call it big data. Big data, not only big in terms of volumes, but it should come from several places. This is what we call spatial. And it should come from time to time. We call it temporal. Okay, so all of us who would like to research on big data, please consider where the data come from. Yeah, not only from time to time, but from one place to another place. Become big. Secondly, it should be variety. It should be varied, beragam, macam-macam. Simply put, let's say quantitative data as well as qualitative data. Okay, and thirdly, high speed, real time, if it is possible. This is what we call velocity. Cepat ya, terkumpul dengan cepat. So later on, it can be applied to, as a title of this workshop, yeah, medical and biomedical application. Every day, every hours, every seconds, yeah, there are people fall sick, yeah, get ill, sakit. Nah, data-datanya itu yang mesti kita kumpulkan dengan cepat. Nah, that's our big problem right now. We have a lot of data, but we don't collect it, the data. So the data is not collected very well. Fourthly, this is what we call veracity. Even though the data, the validity is questionable, that's the role of deep learning to reinforce how this questionable validity of data become valuable, more valuable to our decision making. Okay? So remember these four basic things. Again, if we want to work on deep learning. Why it is possible? As we all know, technology get convergence. Okay? We go everywhere, we can take pictures. It just happened to me 3 days ago. Maybe my son get tired as well, because get preparation for wedding, etc. Something happened to his tummy. Yeah, there is no time to go to the doctor. I took the pictures of it. I sent it to several of my friends who has a doctor, medical doctors, internists, etc. Okay, this is what happened. 3 doctors, I asked the same pictures, it can come 3 different answers, different suggestions. Then, what we will take as a decision. There's also the same thing if you go to the doctor. It's good if you can go to more than one doctor, get a second opinion. So, the decision I made for my son, I chose the suggestion that come from most senior doctor. Yeah. Okay, follow me. Yeah, because these 3 doctors give a different suggestion. Yeah, different treatment. So, decision again depends on the man behind the gun. I choose the one that come from most seniors, have a track record. Yeah, we know their history, etc. Okay, now we're talking about revolusi industri 4.0, industry revolution. Everyone talking about this, from the president to the office boy, yeah? Talking about industry revolution 4.0. Lebih banyak memberi rahmat ke kita, ya, ketimbang laknat, karena semuanya ada. Lapangan pekerjaan pun tersedia dari ya 1.0 sampai 4.0. Okay, so again, this revolution industry 4.0 will give disruptive. What does it mean? Disruptive, the existing one, yeah, have a different area of playing field, not cancelling each other, but the oldest one will fading away. Ya, kita ambil contohnya ojek dengan Gojek, sederhananya seperti itu. Ojek hilang nggak? Tidak, masih ada ojek. Ya. Jadi kalau di dalam teorinya, tadinya kalau kita masuk di dalam bisnis ojek itu namanya red ocean business atau red ocean strategy. Ya, with this industry revolution 4.0, we have to innovate something that we put it in an alternative. We call it blue ocean strategy. Ya, itulah sebenarnya bisnis dari Facebook, bisnis dari Google, bisnis dari yang lain-lain. So, harus kita bumikan. Ya, kawan-kawan yang ikut dalam workshop ini kembangkan kreativitasnya. Banyak sekali nanti peluang-peluangnya. Saya akan tunjukkan beberapa yang sudah saya buat agar kita bisa membumikan pengertian dari revolusi industri 4.0 ini. Tadi udah sebagian poin-poinnya disampaikan oleh Pak Sekretaris Lembaga. Oke. Nah, apa sebenarnya yang mendasari ini semua? Ya, how to compute deep learning? Actually, that's something that we have learned before. Nothing new in it. What? Rooted to computational statistics. Nah, yang perlu kita koreksi diri kita di sini, kawan-kawan semuanya, harus strengthening ourselves. These basic foundations of theory, technique, method, and computational statistics. Yeah, we have to look back our statistic course, yeah, our probability course, yeah, how each operation take place. That's the basic. Then mathematical optimization, etc. Okay. So again, I invite all the participants not only later on go to the lab, look the sophisticated technology, but try to understand underlying philosophy of the technology, of the computations. Ya, nggak ada waktu, tidak ada istilah yang namanya kata terlambat. We still have plenty of time to relearn that our basic knowledge in statistics, in mathematics, in algorithm, and etc. Okay, this is the illustration that I made. Look back to our daily activities. Maybe most of us, I should say, sorry to say, we stop at how to make a bar chart. Yeah, we have data. Yeah, we make a bar chart. Probably we put some interpretation. There is a decreasing value, improvement, etc., etc. Yeah. So we have to move on. Start. Probably also, few of us already talking about relational data. Yeah, integrating from one data to another data, but in the context of database. Yeah, the requirements of Apicom. I've seen it from Sabang sampai Merauke. Yeah. Still, our members stop in 1.0, I should say, in terms of our investment in knowledge in area of computer science. And we have to speed up to move on to the advanced one, what we call it dashboard. Not only quantitative involved in it, it's also qualitative judgment. And stopping right here is not enough. Yeah. Now, what we call it is prescription. This is the data that we have. We have all kinds of behaviors, patterns in our daily activities, in our daily life. Then, what do we get from that? So, that's the basic underlying of this workshop. Later on, we will get the data, collect data, start from small one. Yeah. Look at how the distributions of data flows, and then what are the decisions has been made to the data before, improve the situations. Yeah? And that's the kind of judgments later on that will take place. Believe me. So that's why the title of my presentation, I said a way forward. Yeah? But we cannot reach this stage if we don't have enough sufficient knowledge. Yeah? Stage 1, stage 2, and 3, etc. Okay. So let's see. This is the first things that I tried to collect. Data. I'm interested in looking at global index of Indonesia. Not only saying betul apa tidak daya saing kita melemah, betul apa tidak kualitas hidup kita menurun. Ya, kita kumpulkan ini datanya 1, 2, 3 aja. Global index. Semuanya melihat pattern yang sama. Confirm. Lalu kita biarkan seperti ini aja? No. Ya, it's a dangerous. So we have to do something about it. So makanya penguasa, decision maker, presiden, wakil presiden, menteri segala macam harus lihat ini. Ya, bahwa data-data yang sudah memang menunjukkan semuanya kita turun, kita melemah. Terlepas yang mengumpulkan ini dibayar orang atau apa untuk mendiskreditkan kita, tapi ini dari lembaga yang kredibel. Nah, itulah gunanya tadi yang data awal kita lihat pola tadi. Oh, semua pola udah mengatakan. Dan saya sebagai cerpen Aptikom, I'm sorry to say, most of us have to work harder than before. Kita harus bekerja lebih keras dari sebelumnya untuk memutus mata rantai. Kalau arus sungai itu, kita turun ya, kita harus naik. Oke. Okay. This is the theory I got it from Malaysians. I modified a bit. So this is the futures. The distance between producers and consumers become less and less and less and less. Ya. A good examples I made. Contoh yang baik ya. Kita pergi ke suatu tempat, beli tiket 10 tahun yang lalu, 5 tahun yang lalu, kalau kita beli tiket, kita pergi kemana? Travel agents. Siapa yang mencetak tiket kita? Orang travel agents. Oke, sekarang perlu nggak kita ke travel agents? Oh, udah hilang travel agent, udah hilang sewa ruko, bayar listrik, jaga satpam segala macam ya. Kemudian kita punya tiket. Waktu kita check in, kita pergi ke counter, betul tidak? Sekarang perlu nggak kita pergi ke counter? Nggak perlu, udah hilang tuh. Ya, saudara-saudara kita bekerja di counter, nggak perlu lagi mereka. Travel agents yang bekerja di counter tadi itu producer. Ya. Kemudian kita check in, dikasih boarding pass. Sekarang perlu nggak kita mendapatkan boarding pass dari mereka? Nggak perlu, kita tinggal masukkan kode booking kita, keluar boarding pass, kita naik ke pesawat. Udah berapa pekerjaan yang hilang? Yang tadinya kita consumer, sebenarnya kita udah bereaksi menjadi producers. Nah, I invite all the participants to think about what are the activities that can be replaced. And it is amazing me bahwa the concept can be integrated. If I look for Borobudur, not only picture about Borobudur come up, not only about text about Borobudur is come up, everything about Borobudur in many media. Okay, this is the architecture of it, and I also implemented in Indonesian open education. So as I mentioned earlier, will be a situation that we learn everywhere, anytime, anywhere, anyhow. So we prepare, we call it Indonesian Open Educational Resources. Jadi besok-besok orang belajar itu seperti pergi ke food court, dia lihat menu, saya mau ngambil ini, saya mau ngambil ini, semua ini. Ya, tapi di food court itu semua makanan, yaitu semua mata kuliah sudah lolos verifikasi melalui clearing house. That's already exists now. As you can see, Coursera, Future Learners, EDX. This is it. Okay. This is a big data learning. We capture. We already have 10 years of using Moodle in University of Indonesia. We collected how the student log in, how long they log in, what they are doing, what they are posting, etc. We come up with 3 dimensions: motivation, level of knowledge, and style. And then now we know, at least we already have a patterns. Each individual learners, how they behave, how motivated they are in something, etc. From there, actually, we can serve better the students. Okay, and this is also research that we made. We're talking about cyber threat, cyber attacks. What is it? we don't have anything to attack because anytime people can attack us, we don't have any protection. Yeah, I fight for the government to make regulation for critical infrastructures. But until now they don't fight it, they don't understand, they don't know whether the electric plantation can be attacked, sumber air kita untuk yang diminum bisa diserang, ya. Jadi sampai sekarang kita critical infrastructure kita itu belum ada undang-undangnya. Nah, yang lebih bahaya lagi dari kajian kita yang ketiga ini, social and cultural attacks. Ya, we studied, we've seen people change. Ya, they're Indonesian, but their behavior, look at in these rooms. Long time ago, if someone talking, everyone look at to the presenters. Now, some playing around with their handphone, but it doesn't mean they are not listening. They are listening because they are also parallel processing. They are listening and they are also. But it will be malapetaka kalau dia hanya satu processing. Ya, makanya saya berprasangka baik terus pada mahasiswa saya yang nggak melihat ke saya. It's okay. Dia main handphone segala macam, it's okay. Nah, tinggal lagi bagaimana saya menyediakan mekanisme evaluasi, ngerti apa tidak dia apa yang saya sampaikan. Oke, follow me? Ya, oke. Nah, so this is my last two slide ya. Deep learning, revisit. What is it? Uncover associations among object. Udah lama kita belajar korelasi. Ya, direvisit lagi sebenarnya itu. Cuman bedanya, ya kalau dulu memori kita terbatas, we have a very limited memory. Now we have cloud, ya, as our memory space. No limitations, almost, ya, should say. Secondly, kalau dulu computing power kita ya berapa gitu ya. Saya masih ingat tuh 2 minggu saya book komputer di lab di Amerika waktu itu di Indiana University hanya untuk membalik matriks 1024 kali 1024. Saya pakai concatenated, nggak boleh tuh saya tulis don't disturb, don't use segala macam kayak gitu. Sekarang it's okay. Nah, supervised learning. Tadi kalau dokternya ada mengatakan, this is the medical doctor. Oh, kalau benjol-benjol di sini, ini karena Anda salah makan. Misalnya begitu ya, dan kejadiannya berkali-kali. Besoknya ada hal yang sama lagi, nggak perlu lagi kita pergi ke dokternya, foto aja diproses, ya. Ini yang namanya diagnosa. Dan nanti akan sampai pada suatu ketika diagnosanya itu dibantu oleh big data ketimbang hanya ke dokter. Dokter bukan berarti hilang, tapi bayangkan kalau kita berada di kalau di sini masih banyak dokter di sekitar kita ya. Bayangkan kalau kita waktu itu pas kemana Pak Abbas ya, kita ke Raja Ampat misalnya ya. So, siapa yang ikut ke Raja Ampat kemarin itu dari Papua, ada nggak? Ya, itu kan saya deg-degan itu. Ya ini gimana lah, makanya saya nggak mau ikut itu. Kalau saya ikut. Nah, coba bayangkan kalau terjadi sesuatu di situ, gimana kita mau ngasih treatment pertamanya? Nah, hal yang seperti ini nih bisa cepat. Ya, supervised learning. Nah, bisa juga jangan supervised. Kita belum tahu nih. Nah, ini dah kita bilang uncover the structures, the inherent structures of any object, ya, in this nature. Kita nggak tahu nih, kita kumpulkan aja datanya, kita olah, dapat patterns, kita pelajari. Oh, kalau patternnya begini, oh ini begini nih dulu artinya. Ah, itulah yang kita label, ya, kita naming dan kita improve day by day. Ya, that's all about deep learning. Jadi rekan-rekan nanti ngikuti acara ini nih harusnya udah punya bayangan untuk itu. Ya. Terakhir, reinforcement learning. Kalau yang dulunya belajar itu atau membuat sesuatu itu sudah baik seperti ini, ya kita contohkan aja ke government lah ya. Kan sering nih, kayak saya nih membantu Kemendikbud, Kemendikbud, ya ganti menteri, ganti kebijakan kan. Bahkan yang bagus-bagus yang lalu hilang. Itu nggak baik. Oh, saya selalu mengatakan lebih strong lagi, melawan sunatullah. Ya, sunatullah itu nggak boleh dilawan. Ya, keniscayaan. Ini Pak Abbas ya, saya selalu mengatakan seperti itu. Nah kalau udah bagus, ikutin. Bahkan kita improve. Nggak akan hilang sedikit pun gengsi kita di situ. Ya, ini masalah gengsi ini. Kalau kita mengikuti apa yang sudah bagus sebelumnya, walaupun dia lawan kita. Nah, di dalam pelajaran kita namanya reinforce. Oke, conclusions. Deep learning not only uncover things quantitatively but also qualitatively. Nah, ini jadi nggak ada lagi risetnya ini kuantitatif. Kita selalu begitu ya. Ini riset kualitatif, no ya. Semuanya udah menyatu. Ya, deep learning change. Ya, the huge volume of data to the essence of data. Jadi not only kita ngumpulin data, ya kita lebih parah lagi nih, datanya aja nggak terkumpul ya. Jadi kerja kita mesti lebih keras lagi, tapi esensinya yang mesti kita tangkap gitu. Nah, kemudian deep learning is about stage of associations. Kita bisa bertahap. Oh, ini penyakitnya begini. Di pelajarannya lebih dalam lagi, oh ini adanya begini lagi nih, bercabang 2 lagi, bercabang 3, bercabang 4 dan seterusnya. Nah, itulah kelebihan dari deep learning ini, ya. Yang mana kalau tradisional statistik yang dulu kita hanya pakai hipotesis kan, uji hipotesis H0 ditolak atau H1 ditolak kan begitu, selesai. Structuresnya nggak sampai ke bawah. Nah sekarang itu bisa kita lakukan kalau kita lakukan yang benar. Deep learning discover patterns and correlations. Ya, more to it. I think that's all I can say. Ya, mudah-mudahan bermanfaat untuk kita semuanya. Thank you very much.
Selanjutnya ada pemberian cindera mata dari Universitas Dharma. Kami mohon untuk tetap berdiri di depan, di tengah, di bawah panggung. Untuk itu kami mohon kesediaan Bapak Wakil Rektor 4, Profesor Dr. Didin MM, untuk memberikan cindera mata kepada Profesor Zainal Hasibuan. There are souvenir from Gunadarma University to all speakers. I invite to come forward Professor Dr. Fabrice Drede, Associate Professor Dr. Tong Botang, Associate Professor Dr. Ibrahima Faye, Dr. Mode Hatsgo, Dr. Willem Lemaker. Please. Dan kami mohon kesediaan Bapak Profesor Dr. M. Zarlis, Ketua Bidang Kerjasama Luar Negeri Artikom, berkenan untuk memberikan cindera mata. Seminar yang akan disampaikan oleh Profesor Dr. Tong Botang yang nanti akan berbicara mengenai medical imaging appreciation. Untuk itu kami persilakan, please, I invite to come forward Profesor Dr. Tong Botang to deliver your presentation, and to the moderator Bapak Dr. Sigit Widianto dipersilakan untuk memimpin sesi ini. Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is today we have international seminar in conjunction with Summit School 2018. Okay. First of all, the honorable Director Institute Health and Analytics, University Technology Petronas. Have this review. Okay, and then the presentation today is about medical imaging, yeah, and with the title is Functional Near Infrared Spectroscopy and its application in mental health. Okay, I would read the curriculum from the presentation presenter today, Dr. Tom Gontang. He received his PhD and Bachelor in Engineering degrees both from University of Edinburgh. He is currently the director of Malaysia National Center of Excellence in Neuroimaging and Medical Image Analysis, and an associate professor in Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, University Technology Petronas. He is a recipient of IT Nanobiotechnology Premium Award and Lab on Chip Award. Okay, and his research interests are in biomedical instrumentation from device and measurement to data fusion. He is an associate editor of Journal of Medical Imaging and Health Informatics and a vice chair of IEEE Circuits and System Society Malaysia chapter. Okay, please, Dr. Gontang, the floor is yours, and we can give applause.
Selamat pagi, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Nama saya Tom Gontang. I haven't used Malay for some time, so I'll present the rest of my talks in English. Thanks for the organizers for inviting me to come here. It's my first trip to Indonesia, and I've been enjoying very much of that. So today, I think that you probably will spend about 6 hours with me. So I prepared three talks actually. So to catch the attention of you guys, so I'm planning that this morning I would like to introduce to you one imaging technique, perhaps that is not so common and definitely is new to Malaysia, and what we call as functional near-infrared spectroscopy. Then we have two more, that's the telecoms and also Tenaga Nasional. So three of Tenaga Nasionals will set up university called Unitan, and Telecom set up MMU, Multimedia University. So we are UTP, University Technology Petronas. So we are wholly owned by Petronas, and we are engineering universities. So we solely focus on engineering, although we have started to introduce applied chemistry and applied physics recently, the degree itself. We sit around between Penang and also Kuala Lumpur, okay, about 200 kilometers north of Kuala Lumpur, and we are about 400 acres. So there are three faculties. Academic staff, we are talking about 400-ish academic staff. We have about 8,000 students, 1,005 probably postgraduates, then the remaining are undergraduates. So I'm taking care of a center at the moment. It's a National Centers for Excellence on Neuroimaging and under biomedical image analysis. So 2014, our research was recognized by the Ministry of Education in Malaysia, and they asked us to focus on brain science. So if you notice today, I'm going to talk more on brain science on my first and second talks, and then the third one probably more generous on medical imaging, including MRIs and so on. Right. So this is I actually prepared quite a bit, and I understand that we only have 1 hour this morning. I think I'll continue the rest and chance. So I think that many of you might have heard about MRIs, EEG, MEG, and FNIOS is actually the fourth modalities that actually can help you to image the brain. Okay. So if you notice that we actually tend to use kids image in these slides for one reason. Unlike the other modalities, it's relatively robust against motion. As you know that the standard MRIs and things like that, it's quite difficult for you to put a kits inside MRI machines and things like that. So FNews is partly robust against motions and things like that. Secondly is, we are not trying to replace MRI. MRIs we will never achieve in terms of, FNews will never achieve in terms of the spatial resolutions as MRIs. But it is good for, what is good for? It's good for psychologists. Okay, so most of psychologists' assessment now is all based on paper and pen. And we are interested in objective assessments, right? I just want to share with you one example. We actually went to Petronas and speak to the clinicians about a lot of workers complaining about mental health, stress, right? So people are complaining about mental stress and things like that. So when the clinicians pass them the assessments using the questionnaire, none of them will answer them being stressed. The reason is that they don't want being penalized for the next promotion, for instance, right? So from the clinician perspective, they're interested to see how can you assess mental stress, for instance, objectively, right? So this is something that we're interested in. So if you are new to research, I think that this is another good reason why you want to take a look at FNews. And in terms of publication recent years, it has increased exponentially. Okay. So what is this FNews about? The idea is quite simple. Okay. The basic units inside the brain is neurons, as we know. So when neurons is active, it needs some kind of oxygen. It's like a food, right? So the red blood cell actually provides the food to it. So by able to measure the change in the concentrations of the red blood cells, we know which part of the brain is actually active. So at the near infrared spectrums, the scalp becomes almost transparent. So you shine the lights through the scalps, and then the lights will be absorbed by the red blood cells. Right. So by monitoring the changes in the red blood cells, we're able to detect which part of the brain is active. Right. Concept. This is what we call neurovascular couplings. But it's just to give you an idea. The size of the machine is, the standard size of the machine is almost like your ultrasound machines. I think the ladies were familiar with that. So it's size. So this is what we see the brain activations. Because the machine is too heavy for me to carry it, so just share with you. But it's relatively portable. Okay, this is another thing compared with MRI. MRI machine is huge, and you need to be inside the location. So people have been questions, for instance, like if you want to do mental stress study, for instance, you are taking someone from the normal life and put inside the machine itself. That is not natural. Okay. The other thing is that if you have worked on MRIs, one of the main issues, at least in Malaysia cases, is that the cost. Each MRI scan costs us about what, 1,000 ringgits and things like that. More very, very expensive. So you cannot do lots of samples and things like that. That's the issues, right? So FNews has the potentials of actually going to the population studies, right? If you want to do screening, for instance. So there are basically three ways of measuring stats. Okay, the most on the left is it's called continuous wave. So you just shine the light. The other one is the frequency base. And then you have the time base as well. So frequency and time base, the continuous measurements cannot provide you the absolute values, absolute volumes of the change in the concentrations, but always relatively speaking. Whereas the frequency and time, you actually can provide that. But the thing is, these two techniques are very, very expensive and very, very bulky. So people tend not to use that. So this is the basic. There's only one main equations in Afni's studies. So that's called modified Beer-Lambert law. So basically, you shine the lights, then you will be absorbed by as the lights going through the compound X. Then you have the transmitted light. So there's a change in terms of the intensities of that. If you take the log of that, what you get is basically the transmittance and attenuations. Okay, so you have the attenuations in terms of molar absorbidities. That's the rate. Then you have the path length, molar concentrations of absorbing species. In this case, we are looking at oxygenated hemoglobins and deoxyhemoglobins. And then you have the scattering losses. Now assume that the scattering losses is the same. If you take two states, what we call as rest and activations. Okay. So if you study anything to do with functionals, as I will elaborate more during the afternoon sessions, then we tend to use two states. So one is like your resting states, the other one is actually the activity states. If it takes the difference between the two, you can remove the losses. And what you get is actually you can translate the change in the concentration as the functions of the brain activation. So if you know from your maths in the second schools that if you have two variables, you need two equations. So we tend to use two wavelengths. Okay? So if you can look at the red colors, that's in, the starts of the red color areas is basically the stimulus, it's like a event. Okay. Then you have a rise in the concentrations. That's the red colors. And then you have the same times you have the opposites. You have the deox, so the consumptions of the oxygen itself, right? So when you add these two together, so what you get is the total, which is represented in green colors over here. So this is one example of machines. So for those who are more engineering, so probably you're interested to looking at single assessment. We have the source and the detectors. So what we call as channel is that you have the areas of the regions that you're actually measuring is between the source, the light source that you shine on, and the detectors like SPECT, for instance, right? So the areas in between, that's one channel. So when you buy the machines next time around, you know how they define. Sometimes they use the numbers of optodes, that's the optical electrodes, or then sometimes they use channels. Okay? So there are different ways of arranging it. So try to achieve the maximums, the spatial resolutions of that. So you have the standard lattice. So you can do the double densities, and someone even tries the quadratics. But through the experiments, they are not going to achieve much better than 10 millimeters. Including like NUS, National University Singapore, helping them how to do the data analysis. We have people in Taiwan as well looking at schizophrenia's data analysis of that. So if you're interested, please let me know.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's presentation. So what dementia? So you have a solution using cognitive rehabilitation. Use INRS and EEG. Yeah. Okay. And then we are coming to maybe opinion question or answer session. If any question, please raise your hand and mention your name. Okay. Any question? Okay. Maybe Miss Leta.
Thank you, Professor. Sorry. Bonita. Okay. This is a very interesting topic presentation of you. I appreciate for that. It's very new for me because my research domain is not concept of that. But for myself, it's very interesting because functional near-infrared spectroscopy is very maybe new technology. My curiosity is that when you explain about the mental health care, maybe it's talking about our human being, because some I think I have read from some research report that some people, they don't care about mental health care. They only care about the physical health care. So this is a very interesting, like multidisciplinary science for psychology, computer science, signal processing, medical, and so on. It's very challenging and interesting. My curious about how you can categorize whenever you just judge that this is a human is got stress or not. Did you have responded because of talk about big data? It should be very huge of data, but I just only think that it's only 25 students. It is you can contribute that this is stress and not stress. And why you put a red color? Because in based on my perception, red is a bad, but in your presentation, red is in a health mental. So just or because of maybe it has many oxygen in the blood flow, so you just put a red color. And what is mean a green, yellow, and blue? Because in a distance like this, I cannot see clearly your presentation topic, and it's hard for me to understand your categorize about judgment about the human being is stress or not stress. Maybe someday with that tools, what it called, the Wi-Fi fMRIs, we can just read other people's mind, because of this now it's clear to do that. The research. Thank you, Professor.
Truths, right? How do we get a ground truth? The ground truth is actually picking up from the sliders. So there is an assessment I use, they call alpha amylase. So when people are stressed, actually it releases some kind of hormones. And that hormones can pick up from your salivas, so your eyelid inside the mouth. So if you take that, you can see there's a compound of the hormones. And then based on that, that is the indicators to tell us that whether the person is stressed or not. So the presence or absence of the hormone varies itself. We use that to calibrate against our FNIS data results. So yes, we are at this stage, we are not big data yet. Okay, it's very small, but we want to find out, is it possible to do that? Because at the end of the day, I think that people now are using things like a Fitbit and things like that. Fitbit, you can monitor your health 24 hours and things like that. So subsequently, perhaps people are becoming, if they make the FNIS to look more fashionable and things like that, perhaps people will start to wear that. I think that I see that advertisements recently, people are starting looking at that. So that is, if we prove that there is a correlation between the measurements from the hormone itself versus the FNIS response, then we can use that as an indicator of whether the mental state is stressed or not. That's one. The second one's that you talk about the red color things, right? So that one actually is just the software. Okay, I leave it to the software. We have the scalings of that. So blue being that there is no activations, the brain is not active. Red color being that is very active. So red in this case is good. It's not a warning sign almost. Right? It's just that your response to that. In a way, it's true. Like you have stress, you find that you want to, turn on your brain is quite cool, and then you just stay blue and things like that. So that's what's being representing itself. So I'm taking the opportunities here that thanks to Fabrice to promote this technology, because that of course as you quite rightly highlights, this is a multidisciplinary research. So not just image processing and things like that, actually involves in terms of the experiment design, which I will talk about that in afternoon. So, so I think this is quite an interesting time. So if some of you are not coming from engineering perspective, there is another interest, new research areas that people are looking at, called neuromarketing. Okay, if you have not heard about that, you try to check it out. What it does is that you actually try to look at the brain response. When I present two advertisements, you like Pepsi advertisement A or I want Pepsi advertisement B. People are start to look at that. So you see how people respond to that. And also like how do I arrange the shelves in your Tesco or your, I don't know, here what is your shopping, Sogos and things like that. How did they respond? How people behave that? So people want to engage on that. That's called neuromarketing. The other one people are looking at is called neuroergonomics. Ergonomics, probably most people are familiar with, is like in terms of the healthcare and the workplace, for instance. So how do you present your, for instance, like if you are chemical plants, right? How you present all your panels and things like that, that might have an impact on people. So because people, for instance, like if you are in Petronas oil and gas business, your job is not, some of the job operators, for instance, like plant controllers, plant operators, the job is not that difficult. But the thing is you have to monitor the same monitors for a long period of time. That actually induce fatigues and things like that. So how can you prevent that? Okay. In France, there is also studies actually sponsored by an insurance company, Asia. So what they do is that they studies about mental health of pilots. So when people are flying Bernals, that's fine, it's all autopilots. The tricky part is when they do landings. And inside the cockpit itself, there are actually a lot of signals and things like that, a lot of sounds, the backgrounds are quite noisy. And it just happens that the guy is a bit fatigued, he can't hear the warning sound from the releasing the wheel. So that's why you have airplanes that landed without the wheel, without the wheel. So these are kind of things that people are looking at. The other two things that people are looking at normally is the occupation. People like you and me, teachers. Teachers are one of the most stressful occupations. The other one is nurses. So at the moment we are looking at, for instance, why there are so many nursing students drop out from school. Perhaps they have difficulties on coping with the stress and so on.
Thank you, Dr. Tom Butan, for the presentation in this physical science. And thank you for the audience for the participation. And hopefully this presentation give benefit for us. And thank you for the attention. And finally, I close with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik, terima kasih untuk Bapak Dr. Sigit Widianto yang telah memimpin sesi seminar di siang hari ini. Baik Bapak Ibu, selanjutnya adalah istirahat untuk sholat dan juga makan siang yang telah kami sediakan.
People, for instance, like they have Parkinson's, for instance, right? They cannot control their movement, for instance. So some clinicians actually introduce TMS treatments. Basically, you not exactly, but kind of like zap him. You zap him, you create electric shocks to the person, and then the person recover. Okay, so that is based on the magnetic waves. But there is also electric waves, so there's the TDCS. Okay. So some people are also using techniques like TDCS to improve on some treatments. For instance, like some medications I pass, like for Parkinson and things like that, it's not functioning. So I introduce these such electric shocks to actually tries to improve that. If anybody's hardware persons, the other very big thing is called deep brain stimulation. Okay, so before Obama actually steps out from his presidentials, he actually launched the brain initiatives in US. So it's a huge project, and people are looking at how to do the deep brain stimulations. So deep brain stimulation, what it does is open up your scalp. They put the electrodes. Here is all non-invasive. So far, I show you, it's all on the scalp outside. What they do is they open up your head, they put the electrodes inside, and then depends on the person. Like Parkinson's, for instance, treatment. So they will zap you from time to time using the electrodes. So that's the deep brain stimulations. People also believe that it might help you to prevent seizures and other things as well. So this deep brain stimulation is growing quite big. So one of the big companies is they make pacemakers. I can't remember off my head now, but there's famous companies in US. They do pacemakers. If you have irregular heartbeats, so you just put inside the hearts and then you do that. So now they shift it to the brain. So this is the big. They are the main players in deep brain stimulation. I think that developing countries such as Malaysia and Indonesia, people should start to develop their own deep brain stimulators, because although the technology is there, it is not affordable for normal people, because the package itself is very, very expensive. But the concept probably not that difficult. It's just the electrodes, and then you just have to send the right pulses. The doctors were able to know how to do that. So the applications of EEG is quite wide. We have epilepsy, like I mentioned, dementia, Parkinson's, schizophrenia, stress, anxiety, depressions, sleep disorders, and then ADHD. I think ADHD in Malaysia starts to get a knowledge. Previously, people don't recognize that as problems in the kids, but now people start to do that and then start to offer treatments for ADHD. One of them is actually neurofeedbacks, how to control their data wave and things like that. The new one, of course, this is not quite new. BCI, I think that BCI is something. This is the one that I mentioned just now. This is on the kind of like neuromarketing. So you watch different advertisements and things like that, how people perceive it. This is quite a big, going big and areas of applications. People don't trust on the questionnaire anymore because the questionnaires is not so accurate. This is the one that. Because the Asian people are very polite, they will just say, okay, yes, but they'll never buy. Actually, they want red color, but they just take blue color is fine, and so on. So this is the ones that actually helps you to do that. The other one is the gaming. Okay, gaming is like based on your brain activations, they adjust attentions and engagements and performance through actually your brain activities. I think this will come. I work with companies like Hitachi. I think this is one of the things that people start to look at. Obviously, there are standard ways of diagnosis and things like that. That's one. But gaming is, I think, neuroimaging is for breakdown, because the aim of them is actually to bring down the cost of it. So some of the portable system probably will go down to like $1,000 US each set. So everyone becomes affordable and things like that. Right, so next is designing on the. Don't worry, they are not trying to kill the fellas. Okay? This one is basically what happened is, as I mentioned, EEG measures the electric activation of the brain, right? So when you have the electrode itself, and then you touches the scalps, you don't have a good contact. So what he is doing is actually injecting some conductive gel, right? So that's the reduce the impedance. Okay, so this is something that we do. So don't scare that, don't show your mom and then you're scared what you're trying to do. You try to inject something dangerous, something like that. But actually just injecting some gels. That is, I would say, also the fallbacks about EEG systems. The setup time. That means setup time means that you put the system on. It takes 20 to 30 minutes. Depends how your experience is. Now, if you're academics, you want to publish papers, you tend to use a lot of electrodes, which means that you have to inject many times. That takes a long time. But whereas if you, there is another options, we call it dry options, where the electrodes doesn't need gel, so you just wear it. Okay? So that's much faster. Now, this is slightly a bit probably abnormal, how to say. The topic itself is probably not conventional in the sense that I'm teaching EEG experiment designs. Slightly different from your conventional research because, for instance, if you try to do deep learning, for instance, you just take the images and then you learn, you try to explore based on the literatures what is the best techniques to do feature extractions or how do I do the classification and so on. So you are on the receiving ends. Here what we are doing is we are trying to also involve in how the data was collected. Because every time you do data collections, you can introduce some kind of noise. And also in all wrong. And then if you take that into your consideration for your data analysis, you'll get very erratic results and things like that. So based on the behaviors, accuracies, you can just remove such a data point. Okay? So I'll give you 2 or 3 examples. The first one is called visual oddball task, right? So what it does is that you are supposed to identify such a circle, blue circles, circular things, okay? And then you have the distractors, which is the checker, and then you have the standards one, which is this one. So you're supposed to click it when you see the big blue circles, okay? So this is one example, like for instance, I want to test your attention, okay? So the fellows will do that, sit in front of computers, and then you do the recordings and see what happens, okay? Next is the memory experiment. So since we are just after lunch, so we have a quick trials, okay? What I'm going to show you next is that I'm going to show you small sets of couples of shapes, and then at the end of it, I will ask you whether you have seen that shape or not. Okay? So it's just probably a bit of mental workup after lunch. Okay, so we start with it. Yes? Yes? Which order? First, second, third. Anyone recall? Some say third, some say second. Second. Answer is second. So this is one example of like testing and working memories. So how about this one? This is the mental stress. This is an arithmetic task. So you have to answer 0 to 9. So how about this? Okay. How about if I make it this? Yeah, 7? You get it? How about this? Yep, it's 8. So actually, each of these have 3 levels of difficulties, and that's why I'm showing you. So different levels of complexity. Actually, if you are, I was developing it, so I know the trick. There's a trick to do that. I will not show you just in case I want to test on you guys. Yeah, so such things is a different mental workload. So you can see that compared with the first questions that I asked you, it takes much longer time for you to actually answer in the later one. Right? So actually it's a higher mental workload on these cases. This is related back to the in the morning session where I share with you, we are trying to come up with some kind of a cognitive training itself. To how can we train the persons? So the idea is for us working with Alzheimer's is that yes, there's damage done to the brain cells. Can we maximize whichever we make?
Coming. Okay, the processing unit, the output. So all those inputs, X1, X2, X3, they are being multiplied with the parameters, which is going to be the weight. Okay, so here I'm just doing, I don't know, 2x, okay, plus there is always one coming here, which is the vice, okay, and then I just process this. There is a function in there, okay, and then it fires or it doesn't fire, okay. That's the whole philosophy of the neuron. So the only thing we are doing is we're just making multiplication of the input with the neural net, okay. So of course this is one unit. Whenever we have thousands of units, all those units will be doing this, okay. That's the principle of how the neuron is working. Okay. The function here, we will see you can put plenty of functions. Okay. Whenever people are doing deep learning now, they are using what we call the ReLU function. I will show you what it is. Okay. That's what we call the activation function. And that's this guy here, which is actually providing the non-linearities in the system. Because here you are just doing linear combination. You're just multiplying the input, so this is very linear. So if you want to induce some non-linearities, it comes from this activation function. Okay? That's about it. Same. Okay? Equivalent to the biological neuron, you have the neural network. Okay? So the sum of the product of the weight and the input. This neural net has been existing for quite a long time. Huh? The first one who was credible was the perceptron. Okay, that's a picture of the perceptron. So you have to picture out a neural net of just something like you have done. Those are adjustable weight. So if you have potentiometers, you can adjust them. Then look at the output. Ah, doesn't work the way I want. Just change them a bit. Okay, this was the case. Okay. Well, of course, after that we came with some rules to update the weight. Okay? And that's the beauty of what is the 1980? Okay, micropropagation. Okay. So actually, whatever we're gonna do, we'll be using whatever was invented by Geoffrey Hinton. Okay, it's now in Canada. 1986. And we can use that now on big networks because we have the powerful GPUs. Okay? But the rules that we are employing, they get back to 1986, 32 years old. Okay? So there is nothing new actually. The only novelty is now we have the machine, the capability, and the data. Because we will see, as I told last time, if you have the capacity of the model, so how many variables, how many parameters you want to tune, we need a lot of data to be able that you are tuning properly. Otherwise, you'll be doing overfitting. Okay? So now we have the data, huge amount of data, and we have powerful machine, so we can run this backpropagation as well. Okay? So this is the evolution from 1958 up to now. So now we are doing some deep learning. I will show you the system we are using. And most of the time, whenever we are playing with images, we are implementing what we call CNN. Convolutional neural network. Okay. So we'll be using neuron to do convolution. That's it. That's the whole principle of CNN. Doing convolution with neural network. Because you all know that whenever you want to do a convolution, I take my image. Okay. This is my, you call it the way you want, the filter, the kernel, whenever you do a convolution. Okay. What do you physically do? What do we do algorithmically? If I want to process this image with this kernel, what happens? Let's call this one A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, K. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What do you do? If we make a convolution, so is the convolution a linear operation or non-linear operation? Linear. Linear, non-linear, how about the both? It's a linear operation. Because the output is a linear combination of the input. So linear combination of the input means you take the input and you multiply with some coefficient. Okay? Physically, if you want to do a real convolution, mathematically, you have to take your kernel, you flip it, okay, and then you multiply. If your kernel is symmetric, you don't care, you don't have to flip it. But in MATLAB, that's what happens. Most of the time, you're doing a correlation, not a convolution. But if the kernel is symmetric, you don't care. So let's assume it has been flipped already. So the only thing you are doing is 1 multiplied by A, plus 2 multiplied by B, plus 3 multiplied by C, plus 4 multiplied by 5, A multiplied by 4, and so forth and so forth. So you're just multiplying these with that. Exactly what this guy is doing. X1 multiplied by W1, X2 multiplied by W2, X3 multiplied by W3. So if this now, it's my image. X1, X2, X3, X4. You can easily see that by doing a multiplication with my weight, it's exactly the same as doing a convolution with my kernel. Okay, that's why we call that convolution. Except you see the beauty is here. Whenever you used to do convolution, you have to define your filter, you have to define your kernel. The beauty of the deep learning is you define the architecture, then the system trains itself and find the weight. So whatever filter comes at the end has been found by the system during the training. And of course, the beauty is whenever you look at those filters, they pretty much look like whatever our brain is doing. Yeah? The first filter will be taking the edges, like the gamma filter are doing, like the visual cortex is doing. Okay? And we'll come into detail for that. So the only thing we're doing, okay, so whatever comes here before my activation function, so that's my pre-activation, is just a linear combination, okay, plus the bytes, okay, because you are defining a decision boundary. You have seen yesterday with Ibrahima when he was doing SVM. My decision boundary could be here, or here, or here. The only thing which changes is how much I shift it. What is the bytes? Okay, so we inject the bytes. Okay. So the only thing we are doing is we are multiplying the input with some weight and we add bytes. Okay. In some of the literature, this can disappear to that. Assume that x0 is 1. And then I will be multiplying b to 1, so then it can be set into the product. Okay? So in some of the book, you might find just that. It's exactly the same, except instead of starting from x1, they start from x0, but x0 is always 1. Okay? And then of course, your neurons will be activated, so this H, which I call it here F, okay? You get this, so you activate your neuron and then you get the output of your neuron, okay? So we are here now. So whatever are the parameters of your neuron, your weight, the bytes, and whatever activation function you take, okay? These you fix. These you train. Okay? So if you pick 2 neurons, okay, or 1 neuron, okay, this is what you're gonna define, okay? Okay, those are my input, this is my bias, and at the end, that's my activation function. You're gonna get a decision boundary, which is gonna be linear. Okay? And the weight, they have to be perpendicular to the decision boundary. Okay. So I look at the weight of the vector. Okay. You can play with activation function which are linear, okay? But in our case, we need to induce non-linearity in the system, so we'll be using non-integration on my output. I do the derivative of y versus x, because y is a function of x, and I do the derivative of z versus y, and so forth and so forth. Okay? So here I show you only 2 units. Huh? X brings me y, brings me z. Remember that for some of the network we have 152. So this comes out 152 times. Okay? That's the philosophy. So of course we are not playing with scalar. Whenever I feed you the input, x, let's say if you have x as an image of 10 by 10, that means I have 100 input. So I have a vector. Okay. So this chain rules at the end comes to be there. Okay. So the gradient of your output is obtained by this formula. Okay? This one is a matrix, this one is a vector. So you multiply the matrix with the vector, you obtain a vector. And you can take a very simple function and you put 3 input, x1, x2, brings you to f, then f will go to z, and you will find out that this formula is trivial, so this formula comes out to be there whenever you take x1, x2, x3, x4. Okay? There is nothing tricky there. So, let's see how this works. Okay? Like you have to be concentrated for 5 minutes. There is some math. Okay? So, backpropagation, the output, and I'm looking only at the last layer. Okay? So, the error up to the last layer. I'm not talking yet to my hidden unit. Huh? It's just at the last layer. So my layer pre-activation, so before going to the end, okay, it's AK, it's the linear combination of my previous input. Huh? And then of course, whenever I activate, this is my activation function multiplied by this guy. 48? 16. Oh, 4,000. 4,000, I don't even know the answer. So you might be correct. No, I'm doing it as a driver, I'm asking a question. Doesn't mean I get the answer. Let's see. I'm starting here. Okay? So if I want to make a drawing, this is what I have. 14 by 14. But in dimension 6. Alright? So the first filter, which is defined here, it's a 5 by 5. Okay? So I get this gentleman here and put it here. It's easier for me. This guy here, 5 by 5. Okay? Whenever I want to do my convolution, he has to come here. When I do a convolution across the whole volume, like my RGB image. So I do my convolution across these. So the number of parameters is 5 by 5. The depth was 6. Okay? So 30, 150, we agree? Plus the bytes. Plus 1. So for this neurons, I got 151 parameters. How many filters are defined? 16. So you multiply by 16, you're going to get the number of parameters at this stage. Okay? So the whole idea is, I want you to remember that whenever you are doing the filtering at the later stage, you always filter through the whole volume. Huh? We started with dimension 3 because we had RGB. Now I'm filtering through my whole feature map. Okay? Then another downsampling. And then what it does here is take this image, making as a row, take the second image, making as a row, and then get a fully connected image. Okay. Then take the decision, and he was classifying digit, so only from 0 to 10. That was the first CNN ever published. That's what we call the internet. Okay? So you see, this one is very small. Huh? You can make the calculation about 14,000. Okay. Then came the ImageNet challenge, then we are moving to millions of parameters now. This one 14,000. That's another way of seeing it. Then came the ImageNet contest. So for those who are not familiar, ImageNet is about 1.2 million training images, 1,000 glass. You have to make the difference between dog, cat, bug, car, bicycles, and so forth and so forth. This has been running for several years now. Okay. The winner of 2012, which is very popular, is what we call the AlexNet. So here is the architecture of the AlexNet. Once again, you see, 224 by 224 times 3 because it's got RGB image. The first filters, they were 11 by 11. So he was doing convolution 11 by 11. How many of those filters did he use? How many 11 by 11 did he use? because the depths of this one now is 48. So this is my feature maps. So use 48 of those filters. Then he did the max pooling, okay, and then filtering again, okay. So then here he used 128, 192 filters, 192, 128, then max pooling, and stretch out to get one vector and fully connecting your net. Okay? Back then, GPUs, they were not strong enough to handle the whole network, so you had to split in 2 GPUs. That's why this is split with that. Okay. And of course, at one point you have to map those back coming port together. That's why now he's transferring whatever was on one GPU to the other one to be sure that the whole system is trained properly. But he could not train the whole system in only one single GPU. So you have to partition the data. Okay? So now if I give you any architecture, you should be able to calculate the number of parameters by hand. Because there is nothing. Number of filters, size of the kernel, you multiply, you add 1, you multiply by the number of filters, you go to the step 2. Whenever you do the max pooling, there is no parameters. Okay? And so forth and so forth. So this one was, it's another example. This was the winner of the ImageNet Challenge in 2014. Okay? And then one who was very popular is the VGG. Okay? VGG is it's the name of the research group. Actually, it comes from the group of Alex Zimmerman at Oxford. Okay? So this is the system from that they publish. Okay? And what is well known is because instead of making convolution of 5, if you look at those who have been published before, I showed you the net. 5 by 5, okay? Then they play a bit 11 by 11, okay? Then they play a bit 7 by 7. And then this guy came and they realized that because you are stacking, you can do convolution, you don't do any max pooling, you redo a convolution. Okay? So that means this guy here, okay, can see, this guy can see that, but this guy here can see that. So by stacking 3 levels of convolution of 3 by 3, it's the same as making a convolution by 7 by 7. Okay? So if you want to make the calculation, assuming that you start with C feature maps and you output C feature maps, okay? Then forgetting the weight, the bytes. Then if you do a 7 by 7 from C to C, you're gonna get 49 C to the power of 2 weight. Okay? If you do convolution by 3, followed by a convolution by 3, followed by a convolution by 3, okay? You do only 27 to the power of C2. So whenever your feature map is 50 or 100, you see the number of parameters that you are setting. So since then, most of the network now, they are using 3 by 3 convolution at the stack. Okay? So that was why, that's the reason why this paper has been published and the system has been reused by a lot of colleagues. Okay? Because actually, you can increase the depths of the system, but reducing the number of parameters. Because we have seen in the bottleneck is the number of parameters. The more you put parameters, that means the more you give capacity to your system, the more you will do overfitting, because it can go by every point. So if you want to avoid this, either you reduce the number of parameters, or you inject more and more images. Then come out with people who are doing, so that's the classical system. Then people, they started to say, let's put multiple fully connected layers at the pixel levels. That's what we call networking network. Okay? So you can find some of these in the literature now. Okay? But it's still convolution. Okay? But then they take the output of the convolution and then they do a fully connected layers and then you get the final result. And then they reproduce this again and again. That's what you get at the end. Networking network published in 2014. Then comes the one-by-one convolution, which are the inception model of GoogleNet. Okay? Saya mungkin nggak lama-lama, 1 jam, setengah jam, 45 menit lah saya bahas.
seperti kotak ajaib. Semua bisa diselesaikan tanpa kita tahu masalahnya apa. Padahal ada beberapa aspek mendasar yang harus kita penuhi supaya kita bisa menyelesaikan masalah itu. Pertama, kita harus punya modal data pattern yang bagus. Kalau nggak kita nggak bisa ngajarin. Deep learning neural network itu kan kayak anak kecil, kita ajari salah jadi salah, kita jadi benar jadi benar. Problemnya kita punya nggak data set. Sering orang memulai penelitian TensorFlow memakai Keras, begitu untuk kotak ajaib, cemplungin data jadi bagus. Padahal di sana banyak beberapa hal yang harus kita pertimbangkan. Datanya bisa jelek, nggak punya anomali datanya banyak, nggak bagus, banyak terlalu banyak lainnya. Nah ini jadi masalah kedua, seperti apa sih di dalamnya yang harus kita manfaatkan. Kemudian juga sering orang mencampurkan antara fase kita men-training, memodeling dengan kita mengeksekusi. Untuk beberapa aplikasi itu bisa dua environment yang berbeda. Dari kita ketika saya ingin menerapkan aplikasi neural network saya di dalam embedded processing, kita nggak mungkin pakai GPU yang besar-besar. Artinya apa? Environment yang kita pakai di dalam hal itu menjadi beda sekali. Saya coba ke hal yang dasar. Pertama yang kita harus pahami, neural network itu adalah bagian dari AI. Penyakitnya apa? Itu bukan kotak wasit yang bisa menjawab pertanyaan. Penyakitnya adalah semua masalah AI itu mencoba menyelesaikan masalah real world di mana dia incomplete dan unvalidated. Permasalahannya kadang-kadang solusi kita itu tidak seharus dan komplit. Ditambah penyakit dari deep learning dan neural network. Saya kebetulan background saya juga simbolik logik. Kita tidak bisa memverifikasi jawaban kita benar. Kita punya jawaban 99%. Ini benar atau salah? Sebetulnya kita tidak bisa memverifikasi, memvalidasi mungkin. Jadi yang harus kita biasanya yang menjadi challenge adalah kita punya solusi, orang bertanya verifikasinya bagaimana, betul tidak jawaban. Itu yang kita amati. Nah jadi kalau kita lihat AI ada beberapa pendekatan yang ada simbolik. Orang-orang simbolik itu biasanya verifikasi ujungnya kita inference, kita uji. Biasanya juga pakai logik. Kita gabung. Permasalahan di neural network atau deep learning adalah kita sulit sekali memverifikasi bahwa jawaban kita valid. Kan kalau orang filsafat itu membedakan antara benar dan valid. Valid itu kita turunkan dari asumsi dasar dan temuan benar adalah kita percaya bahwa yang benar. Ya. Nah ini adalah AI itu kita di deep learning dan learning perlu tahu di sini ya ada hal yang lain. Ya. Jadi deep learning itu kan adalah penamaan baru dari suatu kita bilang baru juga tidak baru banget. Beruntung ada komputasi yang tinggi dipakai lagi. Kalau kita lihat sejarah kan yang namanya kognitron orang yang Fukushima itu ya sama. Cuma waktu itu even mau mencoba saja punya komputer yang besar sekali dan komputer yang bisa dicoba. Nah jadi kalau kita lihat deep learning itu bagian dari machine learning, bagian dari AI. Mungkin kita mulai dari neural network. Simpel sekali neural network ini, tapi saya sekali ketika kita membantu kita lupa bahwa ini dasarnya itu adalah suatu neuron. Neuron itu suatu bagian unit komputasi kecil sederhana. Sini manisnya, unit kecilnya itu sederhana dan simpel. Dia punya input function, dia punya activation function, dia punya output. Semuanya sebetulnya terdiri dari objek. Jadi kalau dulu orang implementasi neural network dia pakai objek base, dia punya banyak objek. Ya tentu saja ini apa? Operating besar ya. Itu akhirnya sebenarnya macam. Jadi intinya dia punya unit komputasi kecil yang disebut memori dia sebenarnya tersimpan di dalam nilai sambungannya dia dan ISP. Itu yang bisa kita pindahkan. Kita simpan. Kalau kita punya database kan database kita itu adalah memori kita. Nah dalam neural network memori kita itu adalah nilai weight dan nilai bias. Itu memori kita. Yang lainnya adalah antek. Ya, permasalahan yang cocok mungkin sudah banyak dibahas ya. Saya sendiri kebetulan terjebak di neural network dulu sekali di sengaja. Sekarang gara-gara bimbingan saya juga. Jadi kalau kita tahu sebenarnya simpel sekali, tapi harus kita tahu bahwasannya ada dua hal. Yang pertama adalah summing function. Kita harus paham bahwa yang summing function itu tidak hanya ada satu jenis, ada dua jenis. Tidak hanya W kali X plus produk, ada juga yang radial basis function, mana jarang. Nah, jadi yang membedakan suatu arsitektur itu pertama load dasarnya. Load dasarnya apa? Fungsi sumasinya beda, fungsi aktivasinya beda. Itu sebenarnya membedakan antara neural network satu dengan yang lainnya. Ya. Jadi kita bisa lihat semua neural network itu kita pasti punya input unit, output unit, hidden layer. Nah, kalau kita bicara neural network dengan NLP, Natural Language Processing, kita punya challenge yang lain. Jadi kalau kita di image processing ataupun signal processing, biasanya kita sudah terjemahkan dalam angka, kita proses, dapat data, keluar lagi sinyal. Tapi ketika kita bicara dengan NLP, kita punya PR lagi, mengencoding kata-kata menjadi suatu deretan angka itu perlu pendekatan khusus. Ketika kita dapat lagi angka-angka, menjelmakan lagi knowledge representation ke teks, itu PR lain. Jadi ada dua hal dalam neural network itu yang kita sering kalau di image mungkin tidak terlalu dibahas adalah knowledge encoding dan knowledge representation. Karena kalau image ya great value, luar great value kan gitu. Tapi kalau teks kita nggak mungkin ASCII value kita masukin kan. Majalah itu satu buku majalah. Masa majalahnya kita masukin kan nggak mungkin. Kita ada PR sendiri. Jadi kita tahu.
Ini dihapus ya. Cukup ini selesai Pak. Jadi Pak, tahapannya seperti itu untuk membuat Bapak Ibu sekalian bisa mengcoding Python di dalam komputer Bapak Ibu sekalian. Tetapi kalau Bapak Ibu sekalian tidak ingin menggunakan Jupyter, Bapak Ibu bisa menggunakan namanya Spider atau PyCharm. Kalau rekomendasi saya pakai PyCharm karena lebih gampang, sama seperti sama seperti Jupyter. Cuma bedanya kalau PyCharm itu bisa untuk production seperti itu. Kalau Jupyter Pak, itu nggak bisa production. Production artinya kita bisa membuat Pythonnya dengan berbagai macam bentuk input dan sebagainya banyak. Seperti itu. Ada lagi pertanyaan Pak mengenai cara instalasi labnya? Sebelum nanti saya dilanjutkan. Oke. Prosesnya sih sebenarnya Bu, satu kalau Bapak Ibu sekalian sudah pernah menginstal Anaconda, lulus di Anaconda-nya. Nextnya Bapak Ibu sekalian kemudian menginstal requirement yang ada di sini. Ada lagi Pak? Ya.
Listnya dapat dari mana kita Pak?
Nanti kita aktifkan semua Pak. Setelah selesai semua lab ini rencananya order Bapak Ibu sekalian akan kami save semuanya. Berikut dengan yang Bapak kerjakan semuanya dari sini. Nanti masing-masing orang kami akan kirimkan semuanya dalam bentuk downloadan.
Ini untuk instalasi Python saja dengan Spider dan Jupyter atau untuk nantinya yang ada Nvidia tadi Pak?
Kalau Nvidia Pak, masalahnya itu bergantung pada grafikan masing-masing. Kami menggunakan 1075 Ti. Kalau nantinya pakai yang lainnya, tentunya toolkitnya agak berbeda. Jadi Nvidia toolkit itu bergantung pada jenis Nvidia card-nya yang ada. Tapi kalau misal komputer Bapak tidak menggunakan Nvidia, artinya nggak ada grafikannya, itu hanya cukup menginstal Python saja dengan TensorFlow. Cukup sampai di sini. Keras dan Theano pun sama seperti itu. Ada lagi? Sebelum saya lanjutkan yang lain. Kalau tadi yang saya demokan di Windows itu, kenapa saya merekomendasikan Conda untuk Windows Pak? Bisa saja Bapak menginstal berbagai macam requirement beda project. Oh, project saya AMN, saya cuma ya maksudnya.
Ya, sebenarnya saya Muhammad Setiawan ya kolega saya kami satu sistem ya sama-sama interest di bidang machine learning, khususnya dibandingkan deep learning dengan saya. Dia isinya banyak di computer vision ya, sekitar robotik. Saya sekarang banyak ke sinyal, brain computer interface yang kita coba dikhayalkan. Ya, memang apa ini di Hydrogen System kita punya working group namanya deep learning group. Tidak itu sudah ada, tapi tidak sebesar Harun. Kita juga menggunakan beberapa proyek kami yang paling itu menggunakan segmentasi atau autonomous vehicle ya. Jadi untuk mengetahui di depth juga objeknya apa. Kemudian ini boundary detection jalan ya. Karena itu penting sekali untuk autonomous vehicle. Ini kasusnya Uber tadi yang bernampak orang tahu ya. Nah, untuk sebaiknya Bapak Ibu langsung akses ke ini ya, ke buku kita.
Ya, Bapak Ibu sekalian langsung ke yang kemarin diberikan tuh alamatnya 10
ya,
masing-masing aja.
Semuanya. Iya. Kalau belum ikut, belum connect, silakan tanya ya.
Nanti yang bisa Pak ke user masing-masing yang kemarin.
Silakan masuk.
Jadi sama penampilannya seperti ini. Nanti buka file yang satu itu kan. Nanti Bapak Ibu buka Summer School minus ref Pak. Summer School minus ref. Sama school minus ref. Sama school minus ref. Sama school minus ref.
Sudah Pak, masuk? Semua? Belum? Udah?
Bisa
Oke, jadi dalam praktek ya, teori tadi sudah banyak dari Bapak Ibu. Kalau nanti masih belum juga, pas saat kita jalanin kita tanya, Bapak Ibu tanya langsung. Tapi coba sekali.
kontrol
Nah, di situ sudah ada teorinya. Nanti kalau itu apa bisa scroll ke atas. Biasa dari jelaskan ya, intinya di mana. Jadi kita mengombinasi bobot-bobot tadi itu ya, supaya mendapatkan output yang sama dengan harapan. Walaupun harapan biasanya tidak sesuai dengan jadi kita bobot itu ngaturnya bagaimana otomatis, kita menggunakan teori otomatis. Jadi bobot itu ya kita atur ya, dengan optimalisasinya adalah error ya, antara keluaran harapan dan kenyataan itu beda, berarti ada error. Jadi selisih antara harapan dan kenyataan itu kita bagaimana kita jadikan sebagai fungsi untuk menentukan. Jadi nanti error tadi adalah fungsi dari bobot. Jadi selisih antara kenyataan dan harapan itu adalah fungsi dari bobot. Ya supaya bobotnya supaya errornya itu minimum, berarti gradiennya minimum. Ya, kalau gradiennya minimum, ini aturan bersama ya. Itu berarti kita akan dapat bobot yang sesuai atas. Bobot yang membuat error itu menjadi biasanya yang paling mudah pakai desain. Jadi itu gradien tadi sudah dijelaskan pakai kita cari gradien, cuman dia itu tadi contohnya itu sangat indah gitu ya. Ya, jadi hanya ada satu ceklongan gitu, padahal ceklongan dan ceklongan. Intinya tuh dia non convex. Jadi neural network itu memang dia non convex. Ya. Tapi kalau yang convex itu SVM. Ya, SVM itu dia bawa kepada fungsi yang convex. Jadi dia mesti punya satu titik minimum. Tapi kalau neural network itu bisa terjebak kepada lokal. Jadi tidak terus lancar gitu. Dan inisialisasinya beda, bisa jatuh ke tempat yang berbeda. Nah, itu teorinya di situ. Kemudian bla 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 matematika sekarang masuk ke toolsnya aja. Jadi kita akan menggunakan apa? Keras dan shortcode. Tapi di sini kita starting dulu. Ya, ini yang perlu kita import. Jadi kita akan menggunakan NumPy.